So you've got to train hard. You've got to kill yourself in training, because training hard, you've got to put in 110% in a training session, because that means success. No, you don't. And this is one of the things that runs through athletics completely, from top to bottom, from bottom to top, is this myth that you have to train hard and put 110% into every training session. It's a myth, because what happens when you put 110% in? You fatigue, you're into that uncomfortable state, and you tighten up. Tightening up and training hard is not flow state running. You need to have that flow state running. So if you can't stay tightening up and training hard, you won't achieve flow state running. Flow state running is a state of mind. Well, it's no mind actually, because your mind's not involved. It's you just being. Okay, relaxation is no mind. It's basically you're not using your mind at all, because if you're using your mind, you're thinking. Okay, even it's not thinking. That's what true flow state running is. But we're constantly thinking, like, I've got to train hard, and you're just training yourself into tightness. You're training yourself to be tight in pressurized situations. And okay, is there on the odd occasion, that maybe there is a chance to go into fatigue and just really put it into the training session, but it should be used sparingly. Okay, and even at that point, you've got to prevent, when you hit that fatigue state in training, and this is specifically for 400 meter runners, probably less so for sprinters, but mostly 400 meter runners, when you hit that fatigue state in those 300 meter reps, you've got to learn to relax during it and not fight for the fatigue. Don't fight the fatigue, because you'll just create tightness. It's one of those things that is just, as I say, from bottom to top in athletics, from club athlete to international athlete, athletes get this wrong. And I've just got to say, just whisper this, but the athletes at the top of the game in world class aren't that better trained than the normal club athlete. I hate to say that, because I see them in their competitions, these athletes making the same mistakes as club athletes do, and they miss the point. Now, they've got plenty of time to train, they've got all the free time to recover. That's about it. Okay, they're not doing stuff that the world-class athletes aren't doing stuff that is that much different from the normal club athlete. Okay, that's just the case. And I suppose they don't need to, but we've got these athletic coaches that at the top of the game who are training these athletes, going into all these details and all these things. Oh, we've got to correct these small things with your start. We've got to correct these things, and just it's all an ego boost for them. It's always to come across as we're working hard on the small details to make these athletes better, and I know all this knowledge. When the simple fact of the matter is, to get an athlete to run well, you have to allow that athlete to do its best, to allow that athlete to run in its natural state, allow that athlete to run, and stop trying to change these small details. This is really, really important. So for you as a club athlete, if you're out there, just know that these world-class athletes are just a lot of the time are making the same mistakes as you are, and not that much better trained. And as I say, those coaches making those small details, totally missing the point, because again, we see those club athletes tightening up at the end of races. They're not in the right frame of mind, as it were. But you've got to get to the point where you're not training yourself into tightness. That's really, really important. That's what nearly all athletes do, specifically 400 meter athletes, because they've got in this mind that if I train hard and put 110% into every training session, I will succeed. And it doesn't happen like that, because it's short-term success. That will bring short-term success. In the long term, you'll get injured and you'll hit a plateau, and you'll find that training hard just kind of abandoned them. Training hard just wasn't the elixir as we thought it was. What the point of training is, in the long term, you have to think in terms of months and years. You have to be consistent with the training, and every week get that just amount of training done that's going to improve your fitness, improve your strength, improve you as an athlete. Just that amount that edges your fitness up. Not to do the most amount of training that you can do. Not to fill your training sessions up with double sessions during the day just because you can. Okay, the real point of training, as I say, is to actually just edge your training up with the just amount of training that will improve you for the next week and the next week. It's all about thinking in months and years, not in kind of weeks. Okay, so in terms of that, I'm talking about actually edging towards years that you have to think about it. But a lot of us athletes and coaches can't think that way. We need to be thinking about the next winter session. We need to be thinking about the next, summer season that would be 2 months away, and we've got to train hard. We've got to pull back the training and make sure that we're just recovering from those training sessions. Recovery is something that's totally misunderstood from top to bottom in athletics. Even the world-class athletes aren't recovering, and they don't understand recovery. It really is a matter, because we constantly think about this 100%, 110% thought structure in training that we've got to put in everything. And we're not recovering, and they do it more times a week. They'll train probably 6 times a week, which probably is too much for them. And then they get injured, and they go through the process of, I've just got injured, and they go through an injury phase of 6 months. They miss loads of training, and then they'll come back and say, oh, I've been through hell, I've been through loads of I've been injured for all this time, woe is me, without thinking about their training and thinking about, well, what did I do wrong? Okay, injury happens because you're doing something wrong. It's no one else's responsibility. You are doing something wrong. And one of the things is training yourself too hard. Now, that's a side point. I'm going off into a little bit of a tangent there. We're talking about the impact of training hard on tightness and relaxation. Well, training hard is not relaxation. Training hard is not flow state running. This is especially for you 400 meter runners. Edge your training, do your training, but at that point of fatigue, you've got to make sure you relax. And that probably means that you have to allow your training colleague to go ahead of you in the rep of training, just to shoot away, to do his or her own thing, and just think about yourself. Think about the long term, the years of training that built up over proper relaxed running. Remember, I'm not saying there should be some sessions, probably once a week or once every fortnight when you put it all in. But it's by no means a kind of philosophy for every training session. You can't do that. It's probably overreaching in your training. It's overreaching. And it's going to come across that you're just training yourself into tightness. You're going to slow yourself down in the pressurized situation of competition. And you're not creating the good habits needed to have that relaxation when pressure hits. Just think about that. So how can you do, that doesn't mean you have to train less, although you should. I think you should have at least 2 days off of rest, of active recovery during the week. Why go to 6 days of training? Are you really saying at this point that you need to do 6 days of training? Are you saying that 5 days of training, let's say a couple of sessions on the track, 3 sessions on the track, and 2 days in the strength room, are you seriously saying that you will lose fitness by doing that kind of philosophy, that kind of training, that having 2 days off rest, recovery? This is what we're talking about. Do just an amount of training that you will edge your fitness up. Don't go overreach on your training to get the most amount of training, which means the most amount of fitness. It doesn't mean that. The most amount of training doesn't mean the most amount of fitness. It doesn't mean that. So I'm thinking like that. Well, it should be 2 days active recovery. That means not sitting on your ass. That's bad as well. We need to keep yourself moving. Do movement exercises, but at the same time. Those active recovery days are based on kind of moving the body, keeping your body supple and flexible, and making sure that you're not fatiguing yourself in those days. Nowhere near fatigue. It should be nice and relaxing day. And it's also got to be thinking about relaxation 24/7. This is a thing when you're actually just thinking about your worries and engaging with your worries and making sure that you're not getting drawn in by them, by the pressure and stuff like that. That's a 24/7 thing that's going to carry you over into your competition. So your training is not just in the training sessions, it's how you think about yourself and how you think about what you can achieve as an athlete. Is your self-image, as I've done a video before, is crucial in that. And you should be actually 24/7, you're sleeping half the time as well, but that's relaxation. But when the time of the wake, you should be constantly thinking about what's your self-image? Are you putting yourself down in what you want to achieve in terms of your capabilities of what you want to achieve? So that's another thing that you need to do throughout the day. That's what most athletes should be attacking. But then a lot of the time we as humans avoid that because we don't want to look into that area and attack those things that we worry about and look at those things because we're trying to escape those things. But we have to do it. Stop training yourself into tightness. Okay, stop it. When you hit that point in those reps, those fatiguing training sessions, pull back and concentrate on relaxation. Stop trying to move your arms. Stop fighting the fatigue. You're just training tightness into your body. So that's all I've got to say. I went off on tangents all over the place, but I just wanted to say this nugget. Just make sure that you're actually making full relaxation and you're breathing each time you go into each rep, the priority. It doesn't matter what your colleague is doing, is shooting ahead of you in training session. Let him or her do their own thing. Just concentrate on yourself because relaxation is setting the habits in place. And over time, it's preventing you from getting injured. And over time, you'll get more training done over years and years, and you'll see more consistent improvement. Not the kind of sharp improvement with hard training and then injury, improvement takes a halt, and then your sharp improvement, then injury hits and stuff like that. You're just on a Ferris wheel of injury. That's it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, like and share this video as well, because this will be important for your colleagues as well. And I'll see you in the next video.